So you have again, right after where the contract was, there's a price list right there. Look at right here, this price list right here. Okay, it goes based on number of employees right there. So number of employees, so you know already how many employees they have. So Dr. Javidan, for example, has 5 employees, right? Including her. You always count the doctor too. Okay? You count part-time, full-time. You count independent contractors. Like if they have hygienists, you count them because you still have to train them. You still have to, offer them hepatitis B vaccination. We're still, liable for whatever happens to them. So 5 employees, 12 months. So we have MD, we have dentist. Okay, why MD is cheaper? Because less labeling, less work. Dentists always have more labeling, more chemicals, and more equipment, more things that they do than a medical office.
Even if they do, like even if it's a urologist or a dermatologist where they do in-house procedures, they still have less than us?
Chemically, yes, still less. Yeah, you guys have like 200 to 300 chemicals.
Yeah.
On average, they have like 30 to 40.
Wow.
But I mean, it's just, it's just easier to do medical as far as the inspection, okay, than dental. Just vet is 10 times even higher. That's why we don't do vets anymore. But anyway, so you can see I charge $30 more for dental, right, than medical. Okay, for one employee. Do you see that right up at the top? Now, I've reduced this quite a bit. I brought it down to like 100 and I think 75 for one employee, okay? But then I added the initial setup for you, okay? And you can charge anywhere from $900 to $1,500 for initial setup. Does that make sense? Now, there'll be a time, guys, that you have, let's say, a couple hundred customers, okay? And you don't want to charge the initial setup anymore. That's when you can revert to this chart, raise your premium, and waive the initial setup.
Why would you? I have over 200, yes.
Yeah, because you don't need the cash anymore. You don't need the infusion of cash anymore. Yeah, that's what we did. When we first started our business, I used to charge like, $1,500, $2,000, sometimes, $2,500 up front for OSHA, and then $150, maybe $120 a month, right? Then after I got established and I had enough subscription coming in, where I was paying the bills and making a living, then I started cutting back my initial setup until it became 0. And then I changed my 150 to 240. You understand? Because I wanted more residual.
So you said the 240 includes the initial setup?
Yeah,
Just in case.
that's correct. That's
If
correct.
they want to pay the initial setup at once and then the rest, they have that option.
Yes, so I made that for you that way, okay? So your initial setup is you can charge anywhere from $900 to $1,500 to $2,000 if you want, whatever, depending on how big the facility is. And then your monthly fee has been reduced, okay, by about $100. Maybe a little bit less, maybe $80 been reduced. Okay, all down the list here, okay? But remember, this is your biggest money maker, OSHA. Because you keep all the initial setup, whatever you collect, whether it's $900 or $2,000 you collect, all that is yours. You only pay me 10% over whatever you collect. And from the 200, 240, all the way to 800, all you pay me is $49 plus 10%. So another $10 or whatever, 10% of whatever total you get. So let's say if you're charging $400, you pay me 40 plus 49, it's $99, you keep $300 a month.
What is the 49 for?
For the portal, for the web application that I give you to use for your client. The portal, Enviro portal, where all your videos are. Correct, 49, yeah, exactly. Same thing.
If there is an initial setup, is there a guideline breakdown like this? Or should we just use our judgment?
Your own judgment. Your new one is going to have a place for
The
you.
new one.
Yes.
And one more question. If let's say they go with the 36 months and that's for 1 year, correct?
That's 3 years.
No, I mean the cost is per year, right? So let's say she wants to be my client, so she's gonna be committed, not payment wise, just service for 1 year, right?
Okay.
They have that choice.
Yeah. You can 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years.
So let's say she wants to only be with us for 1 year,
Okay.
okay? And the payment, she wants to make it in 36 months, right?
No, doesn't work out.
6 months contract.
No, it's either a 1 year contract, a 2 year contract, or a 3 year
So
contract.
this is contract and payment.
Of course. That's what a contract is, a contract to pay this much. There's no contract by itself. It's going to be contract to pay the monthly.
Well, the question is, if the doctor says suddenly, I don't want your services anymore, less than 36 months.
That's fine. So listen to this. So here's a question. What if a doctor signed up for 3 years, right? But after the first year says, I don't want it anymore. You know, I'm retiring, or I got injured, I can't do it. Like, I had a doctor in Concord who got injured. He had problems with his hands, he couldn't do work anymore. So he had to sell his practice all of a sudden. Young guy, like not even 40. And the new guy didn't want the service. So I go and I say, listen, you signed up for 3 years, right? And I gave you a discount from 2, let's just say you had 1 employee, just for easy math. Okay, so normally it would have been $270 a month, but I was charging only $198 a month. So I charge him the difference. It reverts back to the yearly number. Does that make sense? That's all. And then I'll let him go.
If he's not agreed to pay the difference.
It's in the contract. It says he has to pay it. Yeah. Also, let's say, for example, the guy signs up for 1 year. How does it renew? The contract is designed to renew automatically for the same term each year. So if it's a 1 year, it renews 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, like that. Unless he calls you 60 days before the expiration and in writing, sends you a cancellation notice in writing that she wants to cancel. And then you have 30 days to cure it, meaning try to fix the problem, whatever the problem might be. Sometimes it's just maybe you missed an appointment or something, she got mad at you or whatever, and then you say, hey, listen, I apologize for that. You know, here's 2 months free on us. Whatever you got to do to make her happy.
Is a 60-day cancellation thing in the contract?
Yes, it's in the terms. You guys need to read all the terms, okay? When I send you your contract. These terms you can read too, but your terms will be your terms.
No increase, obviously. I didn't see any increase on your contract.
Increase what?
Like yearly 3% for cost of living.
No. But we have reserved the right to increase at any time you want. Okay, but we haven't had a price increase in 20 years, except once. We had one price increase, and it was, I think, 5% or 10% or something like that in 20 years. But I mean, come on, the margins are so nice. Who needs to increase, right? We don't get greedy. Does that make sense?
Especially with what happened to Stericycle, it's best not to be.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to be associated with those guys in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. Okay, so let's do a little test here, okay? Let's say this person has 17 employees, okay? So what would be the price for 12 months? And it's an MD.
For 12 months, 880.
So what's the total? 880 in 12 months. What about 24 months?
704.
704. What about 36 months? 616, right? So write it into these 3 different little boxes. 1, 2, and 3, okay?
That's for practice.
Yeah, this is your practice page, cheat sheet. So you wrote that down, right? Now, how do you get them to go 36 months? Because that's obviously the best, right? So you tell them and say, okay, listen, if you go ahead and decide while I'm here to get involved, okay? We have an incentive for you, okay? we will give you, let's say, 10% if you go 12 months. We give you 15% discount if you go 24 months. And we give you 20% discount if you go 36 months. Or go 5, 10, 15. Okay, whatever you like. So either 5, 10, 15 or 10, 20, 30. I'm sorry, now 10, 15, 20. Okay, no more than 20%. All right? And invariably, 90% of your doctors will pick 36 months because they want the lowest payment.
20%. Goes down to 704.
Is this a technique for Indian?
Yeah, works great for everybody. Everybody loves it. Indian, Asian, doesn't matter.
I don't really like to have the discount box right there, because it's already suggesting that we have.
There is a discount, yeah. I can take it out for you.
Which plan did Dr. Javidan take?
36 months.
12 years.
I was sold within 10 seconds. The rest of it was I think we went out for coffee.
I had it at the first hello
That's
Yeah,
headache for you.
we were done.
because she'd already had a bad experience with someone else. So that certainly helped.
Crazy employee who had a mental breakdown and was calling the office threatening to commit suicide. It was just this crazy thing of, okay, what do we do?
And she didn't want to be left unprotected.
I just,
Bullshit on you already.
yeah, I was just like, I never want anybody to think that I'm hangry. Here we go, that's what, I mean,
So
Ben's friend had mentioned his name probably 6 months prior. Otherwise, I didn't even know there was anything the employees could do. I was so naive and so oblivious. I had no idea what OSHA was. I had no idea there was regulation. When this person had her mental breakdown and I was writing her a final check, I didn't even know I was supposed to include the sick pay and the holiday pay in there. I had to call the labor division to ask them that. So your doctors don't know these things.
they don't teach it in dental school for sure.
We have no idea.
Yeah.
So once I had to deal with the labor division, that's when I went,
Oh, maybe I need to check all bases.
and I had somebody who I could call and go, do I need to do anything else? Is there anywhere else I gotta call for this? Because I just totally felt like I had no idea what I was doing. I really felt like I had no
That's the
idea.
biggest fear of a doctor, not knowing how she could be liable. You understand? So what we do, guys, really matters. So I want you to get really solid in your belief. All right, so then we get a signature from the doctor. You sign the second line. You write your name, print your name on the third line, and then date for both of those, right? And this will change. So there'll be a final monthly installment, okay? Initial deposit, in your case, we'll say initial setup and onboarding fee. Okay, that's what it'll say instead of equal to 3 months, okay? And then total initial deposit would be your initial setup plus your first month's payment. And you write that down there. Any questions? And then the last thing you collect is a initial on the terms on the last sheet. Okay? On the terms and
I
condition.
don't like the discount boxes.
Okay, that's fine.
So the initial deposit, this is,
Initial setup.
oh, so that's the onboarding fee?
Yeah, yeah. Don't pay attention to what it says there. Yours will be different, okay?
How about instead of this other paper reduced?
Still the same. I get what you're saying, but see, I always give everybody a discount.
No, you want to show that you're doing it, especially just for.
Sure, that's true. So let's look at medical waste. So pull out your medical waste contract. Okay, so you all should be looking at this. So I'm going to teach you how to quote a dental office, okay? And I'm going to also teach you how to do a medical office, all right? But dental office is so easy to do, okay? Your retail price, suggested retail price is $85 a month. And what do they get for that? Okay? So on the first line where it says sharps, okay, you check that box. Go ahead and check that box. You're going to say, I agrees to pick up to 40 gallons, 40, and then check the box where it says gallon. And it says quarterly. On the second line, check the box quarterly. And then in the box in the front, you write included.
Where do you write it?
In the box.
In this box, you write down included here. Okay? So you write here 40 on this blank, you check the box gallon, and you check the box quarterly, right? And then you write included. Okay? You check pharmaceutical next. Up to 5 gallons annually, right? Included. Then you skip down to amalgam, check that box. Again, 5 gallons annually, included. That's what they get for $85 a month.
You don't have to cross anything else?
No. It's that simple, okay? Now, sometimes you'll go to a dental office and some idiot local waste company is charging them $60 for the same service.
Oh.
They're stupid, you know, they're stupid. They're cutting their own throat. So you say, hey, you know what? That's fine. I'll match that price for you. Your cost is going to be about $45, something like that. $45.
So where it says commencing.
It's about 50% of the retail price.
So our cost is
About $40 to $45. Okay?
Per month.
To pick up, yeah, per month. So you have room, right?
Yeah.
So if the guy says, hey, $60, okay, I'll match that. So now you just made $15 a month. But at least you got an account. You got an account, you got in, right? And you got OSHA. You make the OSHA, your main thing is the OSHA thing, right? Then hopefully you'll sell them HIPAA, maybe it's IT, or who knows, right? And that's how you make up for it.
So what if, it was 60 gallons or like 10 gallons or, how do you price it if it's...
It's up to Azizam.
So that's what I'm saying, like if their need is 10 gallons of pharmaceutical
It's still the
annually.
same.
Then you add to it. Then you have to add. So you call me and then I'll tell you how much to add.
That's what I'm saying, yeah, it's
But 99% of the time, this is all you need.
for dental.
You'll never have 10 gallons of pharmaceutical. Yeah, it's way more than they ever produce. Unless it's like a huge dental office, multi-specialty office. Like we have one of those in Jackson, California, which is in kind of around your territory. It's called Jackson Creek Dental. They have like 35 operatories.
Do you have more?
So they'll have more, right? So I think we used to, when they used to be our client for waste, we don't do waste for them anymore because it was too far out of the way. We were charging them, I think, like $400 a month to take care of their waste. Because they had oral surgery, they had pathological waste, they had all my, so it's a little more complicated, okay? But in those cases, I'll help you quote.
They have 3 locations. Do you do one per location?
That's right. One contract per location, correct. Because each location is responsible to take care of their own waste.
Where it says commencing, what is the next?
Commencing means when we start the service. Actually, when we start the contract. So today would be the commencing date.
So it would be, for example.
So you write down commencing December 4th, 2018 would be the date that you sign in the agreement. You understand? And then the service begins like next week. If they need a pickup. Now let's say, oh no, we just had a pickup from our previous guy, then the next service would be in 3 months.
So pickup normally called by doctors, not, we don't have regular pickup. They call us and let us know.
No, it's all regular pickup.
Regular.
It's scheduled pickup.
So regardless if they are
Yeah, we don't do on-call pickup.
So you schedule.
If the next pickup is in
Let's say they say, well, I only need pickup once a year. Okay, no problem. Pick a day, we'll show up on that day. Or arrange, like let's say, I want to pick up in November. Okay, we'll schedule a pickup for November every year for you.
you charge on monthly basis or a yearly basis?
We charge them, if it's a regular pickup, like quarterly or monthly or something like that, it's a monthly payment. If it's once a year pickup, then we charge them for that pickup every year, that amount. Does that make sense?
And the pickup schedule would be it would be in the,
So your franchise management software, that's when you make the request for pickup. And then our corporate will schedule the pickup for you. You fill out your name of your customer, your address, hours of operations, very important, days that they're open, okay? So the waste company doesn't go there on a day they're closed, right? So these are important things, and then what we're picking up. And then request comes in, we immediately schedule it and put it on the route.
Are you directly in contact with waste collection company?
No, we are your waste collection company.
Oh, you are.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you had outsourced it to somebody.
No, we own part of the company now.
Okay.
And for instance, in this case, we have 4 pickup for the sharps and 1 pickup for the other 2, 1 each. So practically,
Still the same 4 pickup. By the way, amalgam is not a pickup, it's a mail back. When it fills up, they mail it. It's pre-postage paid.
We just need
That's
to
pre-postage
send them the
paid.
new one.
Yeah,
We need to make sure they get the protocol.
yeah, so they're gonna let you know when they send the old one off, say, hey, when this one you send off, just give us a call, we'll send you another one. They get 1 of those a year under this plan.
What happens if they say they picked it up and I don't need it until 3 months from now? Do we charge them from then?
it's an
Or
agreement.
do we charge?
It's a monthly payment for a quarterly pickup. Monthly payment for a quarterly pickup or annual pickup. It's a monthly payment. We pay the monthly payment. We pick it up every 3 months for the sharps and red bags. We pick up once a year for pharmaceuticals, and we give them an amalgam bucket for this much a month. The monthly payment has nothing to do with the pickup
Or when
schedule.
We start them 3 months later, their contract?
No,
already picked up?
no, because I have to pay $85 a month for me to pick up every quarter.
Every-
So what does that mean? That means they're paying me for that pickup how much money? 3 times $85. For my truck to go there and pick up to 40 gallons of sharps, I'm going to charge them 3 times $85. You understand?
One last question.
Yeah.
We have on-call box here, so should we take it off?
No. Leave it there, but that's your annual once a year, okay? And if you want, I can take it out. Yeah, we don't ever do on-call. I'll take it out for you. Yeah.
I remember because there's times where we make a mistake and we need an immediate pickup, like we filled it up beyond the line and we weren't thinking.
We can do that for you.
Given us an option that this is your, but if you need an emergency pickup, it's this much per extra trip. I can't remember
Correct.
what that was. Is
Yeah,
it
to
something-
send a truck to your office to pick up on an emergency basis is $120. Listen, the reason I don't want to do on-call is because then you have no commitment from the doctor at all. You have no customer. There's no customer. But if at least you know, hey, you're going to pick up once a year for this guy, that's a customer.
What I'm asking is different.
Yeah, that's different. Emergency pickup is different. She's, let's say, on a quarterly basis, but all of a sudden she had a big influx of patients that week and her sharps containers are now full and she needs to get it out of there. We'll put her on the next route and then charge her extra for that pickup. Yeah, one special pickup, yeah.
It's monthly $85. However, if there's an emergency pickup, they'll just charge you this much extra. I couldn't remember what it was.
Yeah. It was 120. Yeah.
$20 extra just in case you need it. Just give us a call. You don't need to.
Yeah, it's not in the contract. You don't need to be in the
You
contract.
don't need to break rules because we had mistakenly filled one.
And it happens only once in a blue moon, yeah.
Yeah, we had 30 days to get rid of it, and the next pickup was like in 6 months. That's
Exactly.
something we couldn't
Yeah.
do.
Dental is always quarterly.
Dental's always.
Always quarterly. They don't need more than that.
It's always annual.
Listen, I've been doing this for 23 years. Never had a dental office pick up every 2 months. Never.
So, these are
Unless they're an oral surgeon. You understand? Oral surgeon or perio. Different thing, completely different. But when you come to that, you just call me and then I'll let you know what you're supposed to do. But I'm going to talk to you about how to set up a monthly and every 2 months and every week and even every day if you want. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is take this and make, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 copies just on the first page. And give it to Elena, she'll copy it for you. What's the question, Aziz?
Lead foil and X-ray solution, because we're talking about dental.
Yeah, X-ray solution is no longer hardly being used, and lead foil goes with X-ray solution. These are old X-rays. Like 90% of dentists are all digital now, so you hardly ever come across that. And if you do come across that, just call me and I'll give you a quote. And anybody at corporate can give you a quote on those. But I'm going to give you a list of pricing, okay? The pricing, I've already given one to you. You already have it. I sent it to you with all your documents, my friend. Okay? So go look at your documents that I sent to you. Because absolutely I did. Yeah, not only that, but also I did the new pricing for your OSHA, for HIPAA, everything. Go look at the email.
That was a contract. And
Yeah, all of it is there. But you'll get it again in a USB before you leave, okay? And we'll go over the content of the USB drive before you leave, so you'll see what you have. So don't worry, we're gonna make sure you're equipped. Just a duplicate of the front page, okay? That's all it is. So on the other one, write dental, okay? On this one, you're gonna write medical. Now, it's a typical medical office, okay? Medical offices that have waste are usually doctors who do some procedures, give some injections, right? Like allergists, like, internal medicine, like general practitioners, pediatricians, dermatologists, plastic surgeons. These are your typical, gastroenterologists, and the list goes on, right? The doctors you won't ever do waste for is be cardiologist, neurologist. Those guys don't have any. Psychiatrists, okay? Or psychiatrists don't have hardly any waste at all. A little bit of sharps, and they usually just take it to the hospital and give it to the hospital, okay? And their office is right next to the hospital, especially cardiologists, okay? So those guys are not a candidate for waste, okay? Surgery centers, anybody who does surgery, any type of blood banks, these are medical waste potentials for you, okay? So let's say you come across a dermatologist or a plastic surgeon, right? So these guys for sure will be producing red bags. Remember, we talked about red bags? Bloody gauzes, things, and how often were they supposed to be picked up?
30 days.
Every 30 days, right? So let's say this is a typical doctor. Let's say she's a dermatologist. Okay, so you're going to check the box sharps right there. Go ahead and put sharps and red bags. You're going to say up to 40 gallons. And you're going to say monthly.
Why are the other options even there if they have red bag? Because once they produce it, it has to be gone within 30 days, right?
Because sometimes it could be weekly. Now, let's say, for example, he does a surgery every 6 months.
Oh, I see.
Right?
Yeah, that's possible.
There's another reason why it would be a 6 month. So he knows on month of April, that's when he does all his surgeries, or something.
And they do that.
Yeah, they do. Okay, got it? So you're gonna put for that right in front up to 40 gallons, okay? The cost, you're gonna see a chart. It'll say you have 3 different size containers, right? You have 22-gallon container, you have 33-gallon container, and a 44-gallon container for medical, okay? And in the chart, which I will show you on the screen here in a little bit, it shows that for the first container, you charge this much. For each additional one, you charge this much. So it's cheaper for each additional container, right? So again, you don't know what the gallons are, right? So with the medical, you have to ask them how many gallons they produce. So then they go, okay, well, we produce, we have 3 of these bins in the office. So you walk in there and you see these bins, each one of them are, say, 30 gallons each, right? So that's a total of 60 gallons, correct? So 3 bins. So, okay, this is the maximum you ever produce? Yes. Okay, we'll keep it like that, okay? Now you're gonna have, the driver is gonna drop off 3 30-gallon containers for you, right? You're gonna charge the number you're supposed to charge for the first one, and you're gonna charge the number you're supposed to charge for each additional one for the other 2. So typically it would be something like this. It would be $125 for the first one, $45 for each additional one. So that's just for the red bags and the sharps. They go together in the same bin. Okay, sharps and red bags go together in the same bin. Then you say, oh, you also produce pathological waste. You do liposuction, let's say, waste or something. Or how much of that do you create? Well, we do about 5 pounds a month. Okay, so you go pathological, you cross that, and then you write down the total, and you kind of go up a little bit from there because you say up to 10 gallons a month, okay? And then that has to be picked up how often? Every week. So pathological, you have to put weekly. Do you understand? So you do 4 pickups a month, because it's weekly, right? And on the end of the month, you also pick up the red bags on the same trip. Do you got it?
I do have a question. Let's imagine this medical office has 3 33-gallon bins, so the total is going to be about 90 gallons.
Yeah.
Is the 40 gallons how much it's filled to, or it's the actual
Size of the container.
size of the container?
Doesn't matter how much is
So it
in there.
has to go in the truck anyway,
It
right?
has to go in the truck anyway, yeah.
Right,
It's the size of the container, not how much they put into it, okay?
right.
Now remember, we provide these containers to them lined with a red bag, and it has a cap on it, has a lid on it, okay? And when you see the lid, it'll have a label on the outside that says the waste company's name, okay? And in this case is ATI, Waste Management, okay? So it goes on there. They'll bring an empty one, and they pick up the other one and put it in the truck for all of the 3 items. Okay, so that's red bags and sharps. And then pharmaceutical usually is a different type of a container. It'll be a different color, and it'll say pathological waste on it. So they know to put the liposuction waste into the path container. And it's usually double lined with double red bags, so it doesn't leak. But all pathological waste is also sealed, okay? They put them in canisters so they don't leak.
Should we mark pharmaceutical?
Yeah, pharmaceutical for sure, yeah. Pharmaceutical, again,
Up to
you ask them, how many gallons do you think pharmaceuticals you will produce a year? He'll say 20 gallons,
Oh, this is yearly.
This is medical, it's annually, right? So you're gonna have a once a year pickup again, and then you put the right number of gallons there. Now, obviously, a dermatologist doesn't have chemo, but an oncologist will have chemo. Does that make sense? And chemo is also, I told you, is weekly, right? So once you get the numbers, okay, of the type of waste and the amount of waste that they produce, you already know how often they have to be picked up, then you can quote them based on the chart that I give you. So here's like a 20-gallon container right there. You see that? So $85 the first container, right? $25 for each additional if it's a weekly pickup. Okay? And that's per pickup, guys. This fee is per pickup. Okay, if it's monthly, it's $115, $30 each additional. If it's on call, it's $195, $45 each additional. That's that emergency, out of the ordinary request. You understand? If it's 32 gallons, it's 105 plus 35 each additional, right? It goes like that. If it's 44 gallons, it's that. You see that? This is regular biohazard. This is pathological. So pathological, pretty self-explanatory. Same thing as a red bag and sharps, but it's a little bit more money because it has to be incinerated. This is chemo here. Up to 44 gallons, 139 the first one, 45 each for weekly, monthly pickup. Pharmaceutical, 5 gallon, 119 per container, okay? So when we include pharmaceutical for 1 year, that's included in the $85 a month. You understand? And then the amalgam bucket, the cost of amalgam bucket is $275 to the doctor. You understand? Yeah. Yeah.
On those, it shows up to 44 gallons, but here we put up to 40 gallons.
Doesn't matter. 40, 44, same thing. It's anonymous. Some people say 44, some people say 40. I always go to the lower number just to be sure. You know what I mean? To be conservative. But you can put 44, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. So here it says for dental, for $85 a month, right? 44 gallons sharps quarterly, right? Pharmaceuticals, 5 gallons annually, and amalgam, 5 gallons annually included. X-ray chemicals, 5 gallon polyclose top, $98 per container. 6 gallon polyclose top, $300 per container. That's amalgam mailback. Remember I told you $275 per container, per 6 gallon container, which is their amalgam bucket. That postage is already prepaid, treatment is already prepaid. So whatever you put in there, you lock it up, you send it, you mail it, it gets taken care of and treated, all for that money, $300. But it's included, okay, up here. But if you want to sell it additionally, this is what it costs. Lead foil, 1 gallon of lead foil, $125.
Overall, is there a good money in selling the medical waste versus OSHA?
OSHA is much
OSHA is
better.
the top, yeah.
But no, sometimes waste can be a huge account. Like you could find a surgery center, for example, that is paying $8,000 a month in waste. You know, you give it $2,000 discount, you give it to them for $6,000 a month, you make $3,000 a month just from that account, on average.
They most likely have already a waste company, you just have to transfer them.
Yeah, they just cancel with the previous waste company and come with you. Especially if it's a Stericycle client, easy taken. Usually larger accounts in your area in Fresno, Stericycle account.
A
A lot of Stericycle, absolutely.
Stericycle.
They were the monopoly in Fresno,
The biggest, yeah, they're,
the biggest monopoly.
and nobody knew about the class action lawsuit. So it's-
Interesting, huh?
Stericycle, our competition.
Yeah, that's your biggest, for medical waste, yeah.
which
Even normal waste collection is actually through a
Huh?
mafia system. Normal waste and recycling.
Yeah, it used to be, yeah.
No, still actually, you cannot get in.
New York, Vegas is that way, yeah. But not here in the Bay Area, not in California. And those guys are pretty much out the door after a little while. They're mostly in solid waste, picking up regular garbage, not medical waste so much. Because medical waste is too technical. We're talking about the organized crime, mobsters. They love they love the solid waste business, garbage business.
So it's 40 to, how much, 40% to 45% cost for us on a medical? Or?
Yeah, usually, like I said, 40 to 50% margin usually for you. Yeah.
For us?
Yeah, not counting the 10%, so about 40% margin.
They will pick it up in Sacramento as well as.
all California.
I have a question. So the reason you have a portal-only OSHA is, other than the fact that people here can choose it, if it's a state or if it's a place that's too far for people to go, that's a good option to offer, right?
Uh-huh.
Let's say somebody I know, I meet at a meeting from middle of Reno, I can
Why?
say, hey, you can still come on board,
Yeah.
have the whole thing until we get somebody in your area.
Correct.
However, this is a good beginner.
Correct. Like I said, I built my whole company on one service. You don't have to have all the services. 100% of my customers have OSHA. How many do you think have HIPAA? Not even 10%. Really? Because I just started selling it a couple of years ago.
Do they know?
No, I don't want the business.
Can we sell HIPAA to your customers?
Yeah, buy the customer and sell HIPAA to them. You're actually in the best advantage because most of my customers are in your territory.
Most of them know me anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you can go sell them HIPAA, sure. Any questions, guys, so far? So now you know how to fill out the paperwork. You know how to do your pricing. The only last piece of paperwork is your credit card authorization form. Pretty self-explanatory, guys, okay? You write, again, the information of the customer at the top, Visa, MasterCard, you check the box, write the phone, the CVV number, CCV number, whatever.
This credit card, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
This credit card authorization agreement is only for the waste. It's
No, it's for everything.
for everything we use.
Yeah, yeah. We have one credit card authorization form, that's it.
So Chase told me that they have these little things you can put in your phone or iPad and they swipe the card.
Go ahead.
So if they do that, do you still need to do this?
Yeah, it's monthly.
It's a monthly. They're authorizing you to monthly charge them. So you can still take the first payment on their card right then and there if you want to.
Yeah.
But it's a little unclassy to do that. Go to your office and do it. Right?
Well, we submit this to you and you.
No. You do your billing. Yeah, you get all the money.
So.
Then we
have
take
a
out
certain
10% out of your.
services that you want this to go to.
Yeah, so we're gonna set you up with Intuit Merchant
Oh, I know.
Services. Yeah.
Okay,
There's 4% cost for using credit card, so there's 4% additional
through
cost.
Intuit?
Once customers pay with their credit card
I don't think it's that high, dude.
Yeah, I'm like, that's
or Visa and
surprising.
MasterCard.
So I pay less than 2%. That's why I'm surprised that it's 4%.
No, it's not 4%. No, it's not 4%.
It's for 8 here, and it's 2%.
So did it?
4% is really high. If it's Amex, yes, but if it's Visa or MasterCard, 4% is pretty high in the
We'll give you all the correct numbers. It's going to be the best rate, you
I
know.
mean, Intuit
Yeah.
gives the best rate.
It does give the best rate. Yeah, it's not nowhere near 4%.
But it ties into the QuickBooks well
Correct.
too, right?
Correct. That's the whole point of using Intuit because it tucks right into the QuickBooks.
To add included, it goes with the medical as well. The same.
No,
No.
We don't add in.
there's actually a price goes in there.
Only price, but each one has its own.
Has its own
Yeah,
price,
yeah.
right? And then you add them all up and then you put it at the end as your total number. Make sense?
Yeah, for dentals,
Dental is different, yeah,
one price for all and all goes in.
correct.
If they need additional
Yeah, got it.
because they're doing something.
Medical, you have to kind of put it together because there's so many different things, yeah.
Question. If somebody has 3 different services with us, do we charge all 3 as a lump sum one at the end of the month?
Absolutely.
Or 3 different?
No, up to one time. But you have to send them a statement, which QuickBooks creates. So you have to learn how to do statements. So we're gonna have our bookkeeper come here and train you on how to do bookkeeping, how to do invoicing, how to do all that kind of good stuff.
So like get a card from them. Like,
You just write it all down, give a card back to them, that's it.
Get
Get it to sign it, yeah. Once they sign it, you're done. Then you go back to your office or in the car and put it right into your phone or whatever you gotta do, you key it in. And what you do is you set up Intuit and the QuickBooks to automatically bill that card on a monthly basis and generate an invoice for you every month, right? And then you email the invoice to them. Don't mail anything anymore. Don't do a hard copy invoice. Always email. Saves you thousands of dollars in postage every year. And envelopes and stupid things. Don't print things. Everything electronic. Yeah, you don't need stamps. My wife still mails things, and she refuses to change her system. Waste of paper, waste of money, waste of labor. Just email.
We bill through PayPal now.
There you go.
There's really no point in sending a bill.
You can do that with your customers, right? But as long as the money goes into QuickBooks, that's good enough. You know what I mean? Sometimes they write you a check. They don't want to use a credit card.
Right.
We have a vendor here, still faxes. we still have fax just for them. They're regular for like 15 years.
Yeah.
They still fax.
Doctors are like that, man. Doctors are like that. Doctors still use fax. This one doctor says, I don't do email.
I have those.
I said, what do you mean you don't do email? He says, I don't do email. If you want to send an email, it has to go to my secretary and she dictates to me what the email says.
Does he have like a fossil collection?
He's old.
It's not that bad when it's a bill, when it's an x-ray, it's a digital x-ray, they want me to print it and then fax it. You see nothing out of that. It's ridiculous, but they're like that.
All right, so for this next section, we did talk about our pricing. We went over the agreements, how to fill them out. You can also give what I call bundled discounts. For example, sometimes I say, Doc, you're already an OSHA customer, right? I want to talk to you about HIPAA. And if you do decide to buy HIPAA, I'll give you a 10% discount. I'll give you 20% discount on HIPAA. And the discount I always give only on the initial setup. I don't give it on the monthly fee. You understand? My excuse is I don't have enough margin there. Okay? But on the initial setup, because I have $56.20 that you charge up front, I give them 20% discount. Because they're already OSHA customer. Okay, so sometimes I say, okay, if you do OSHA, HIPAA, and waste, so I give you 20% discount. So you can do those things to make the doctor feel like he's getting a deal. Do you know what I mean? That's what that means. That's all that means. Bundles and discounts, okay? If you want to sell, again, next month you come and you sell them IT, you say, okay, I'll give you the IT instead of this, I'll give it for this much because you're already an OSHA customer, you have several of our services, blah, blah, blah. So always remember that doctors appreciate a special treatment.